The first presentation is by Roos, who's a master's student right now currently, but will continue working on the project as a new PhD. Yeah, so please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roos, and I'll be sharing with you about the Autismproof inventory for buildings. We've heard a lot of wonderful insights about autism-proof architecture, design principles, but also psychological aspects, so like well-being of students. And it's important that we make these items, these design principles, measurable, because we need to know what do they do, what is its impact on student well-being. So as we all know, loneliness is a major concern. It's a public health concern. A lot of people feel lonely. A lot of adolescents feel lonely, and especially neurodiverse youth report higher levels of loneliness than their allistic peers. Often and the physical environment plays a big role in this. As we've heard before, it can lead to overstimulation or create a sense of safety, a sense of calm. So the current focus of Building for Belonging is this environment, and we want to connect it to loneliness. We want to connect it to sense of belonging, well-being, because we want to know, how do students feel in a certain environment? What does it do? Well, how is it perceived? So in order to do this, we looked at different literature on autism-friendly design. Magda has wonderful work, and there are others who provide us insights into what could work, what would be beneficial to the students, especially neurodiverse youth. Combining it all, we came up with 5 overarching themes, and I'll walk you through them so you kind of get a glimpse of what we're working with, what we're assessing the schools with that are participating in our research. So the first is universal sensory comfort, which is in a way a baseline. We all want a baseline of comfort. And then I'm talking about lighting, airflow, temperature, but also items such as acoustics. Some examples are sound dampening materials. The photo that you see is a sound dampening, it's like a soft fabric, and it's sound dampening that you can put against the walls. But other items are soft close hinges on doors, like we have right here. Some schools miss the soft close, and then the doors will slam, which can create overstimulation. So all in all, when we do this inventory at schools, we have a researcher go to school, and you can kind of tick a box. Do they have it here? And you give a score from 0 to 4, whether it's available or not. Another example is color use. So according to literature, it's good to use color, but it would be helpful for it to be muted tones, so not too bright, and with consistent use. So for example, some schools, they'll have chairs, and every chair has a different color. And then autistic students will say, well, that feels overwhelming. It's okay for it to have color, but it would be better to have it in one color, for example. So that's the universal sensory comfort. Then another theme is wayfinding, which talks about being able to find your way through the school. So for example, I walked in here for the first time today, and then I'm immediately looking for signs. Where do I need to go? What elevator do I need to take? And for students, they need a clear way to find their way through the school. So items that we'll look at is clear visual cues indicating where to go. But also, are sightlines wide enough to see what is ahead? Is there some sort of predictability in a school environment? Another example is transitions between areas. Sometimes you'll see a difference in flooring, like the colors will change when you go from the one room to the next room. Sensory variety talks about having the opportunity for different zones. So low stimulation areas, high stimulation areas. You've heard it in other presentations already. Sometimes you're needing a low stimulation area, but other times you might want that interaction. You might want to play a game with others or walk around an area. It's not only different between students, but every student themselves, they have different days. So some days you want more calmness, other days you want more interaction. So the question is, do schools have this available? As you can see in the photos, Over here, there's a place to sit. There's a place to sit over there. On the other end, there's room to walk, but you also have more secluded spaces to spend your break time. And the next theme will draw further on that. It's sensory interaction flexibility, which talks about, do you have the choice to move from the one zone to the next? Is it easy to navigate between the high stimulation zones and the low stimulation zones? So for example, when we talk about sense of belonging, we want students to be able to interact with other students. But then as in the moment when it feels too overwhelming, it would be helpful to have pods, for example, or booths close where they can go to, find a sense of calm, but still be connected to the group, still feel like they belong within the group. And as you can see over here, you'll have pods all the way to the side. This is a more open area. So this space offers the opportunity to be seated with others, but also move to the spot and be in a more quieter area, more a smaller group. So this theme talks about, are you able to sit by yourself while still being connected to the group? Is it safe to sit by yourself? Or does it feel awkward to sit by yourself in this environment? Is it easy to move from the one location to the other location? The last theme is restorative places. These are designed spaces to find calm, to restore, so to say. They can be in a larger area, for example, in the library, but they can also be in the hallway, like seating pods that you see here. And a lot of neurodiverse students will benefit from having these places that they can go to. But some schools now, they'll have this classroom all the way in the back on the 3rd floor, and it's hard to reach. And in this inventory, we look at accessibility. Is it easy to access? Do they need a key from a teacher, or can they just go there? Is there some sort of supervision so that it feels safe while sitting there? So we look at all these aspects concerning restorative places. This is a photo from one of the schools participating in our research. And now my question is, do you think this area would score high, average, or low on the Autismproof inventory? So please raise your hands if you would say it scores high. So meaning it is very autism friendly. Who would say it scores average? That's one hand. Who would say it scores low? What sense? Yes. It does score relatively low, especially because of the all the visual stimuli going on here, which is a lot of information. Another reason is you're sitting with your back, like you're facing the walls, means you don't know what's going on behind you. And what you're not able to see here, but this is a large open area. And when we walked through this, the principal shared with us, well, most people, they don't want to sit there, but we don't really know why. But one of the reasons might be because it doesn't feel very safe and it can be very overwhelming. This is another area in this same school. Would you think this area would score high? Who would say high? Can you raise your hands? Who would say average? And who would say low? Yes. I mean, it's just one part of this area, but one reason why it scores average is because the furniture is stuck to the floor, so you don't have the noise when moving around. There's some sort of predictability here. And also there is a way to sit with a smaller group of people while still being connected to the larger area. This is a photo of their canteen area. It didn't score very high. It wasn't super low. But the reason is that it has a lot of reflecting lights, as you can see here, that can be distracting. Chairs make noise. There isn't a lot of space to move, so it's kind of all very crowded place, and the acoustics went very well. Those are some examples on why it's scored the way it's scored. But then they had some interesting elements in their entrance. One of which is this bench. A lot of students felt comfortable sitting here by themselves, or at least we observed a lot of people sitting there by themselves. Then you might wonder, why does this feel okay to sit there by yourself, and another bench does not feel okay to sit there by yourself? It probably has something to do with the way this is designed, as it for some reason, doesn't feel awkward to sit there by yourself. And the interesting thing is that with this inventory, we will rate, okay, what do these areas have? Like, what are the desired features? And we can link it with loneliness, with sense of belonging to actually see what it does. The other is the booth, which is a great place to sit with a smaller group of people while still being a part of the larger area. So to conclude, yes.
The booth was surrounded with wood, right? Wood paneling, which is acoustic proof, sort of.
Sort of. It could be better in this one. The greenery is a good point. So we do look at, does it have greenery? Is there some sort of calming element in there? But there are booths that are more soundproofed because they have better paneling around. But it does create some sort of safety here. So I think it's a good start. So to conclude, we have to move beyond individual interventions that a lot of schools use right now, like social skills training, focusing on the individual, and move towards understanding the environment for real connection. So how does the environment support individuals to connect with others while retreating, still being a part of the group, while interacting, to have that flexibility? And we're hoping that this inventory that we're still revising and it's getting better, but we're already using, is a great start to make it measurable and to connect the data. So to connect architecture with the data on well-being. Thank you.